Good day and welcome back to another episode of Pokemon. So we're back with Pokemon, continuing our journey. We've just defeated the gym leader and basically we're now on to the next leg of our journey. It's going to be quite a big one. We should basically get to Fortree City in this one. We'll take on our dad's gym. We'll also get Surf. We're going to do a lot of significant things here. But first we need to dispose of the Magikarp from the breeding extravaganza that we performed in the last episode. And yeah, basically we just need to essentially get rid of some of our, I don't want to say mistakes, but just, yeah, get rid of some of our good friends. So yeah, pretty straightforward. We also have the ability to now go into the desert, which is really helpful. We're able to head into the desert and obviously grab ourselves quite a few things here. What we're going to be doing is we are going to be training up our good old Gyarados, good old Kippy and Martin and Marvin in the gang. We are going to be leveling in the desert here. So there's a couple of Cacnea, but they're not a huge problem. Generally speaking, a ton of these trainers have like Sandshrew, Pokemon like that. So what it does is it basically allows us to kind of feed some EXP into our Pokemon, because we do have obviously the very strong starter, but basically we are at the point where we need to start really getting a strong second option and then eventually a third option. So we battle a couple of the trainers, taking them out really with relative ease. Honestly, none of them really posed a huge problem. Even those with Cacneas and things like that weren't really high enough to give us like a big kind of challenge. It was a great time to give Martin some XP. During this time we also found the fossil. We're not able to use either of them. The claw fossil is Amaranth or Amarath. Not Amaranth, no, definitely not her. But it's Amarath. And yeah, basically super duper straightforward. The claw fossil, very, very simple. We can't use it because it's not water type. Same with the root fossil. Once we're done in the desert, we head back through the Route 117 all the way back to Verdant Turf Town. And from there, we're going to take the shortcut all the way back through to Rustborough. And the reason we're going back to Rustborough is twofold. Firstly, we want to, I hate caves. The first thing we want to do is we actually want to awaken our fossil, even though we can't use it. And secondly, we're going to cut down all the way back to our father's gym, and we're going to take him on, because that is the next step. So for those who don't know, taking on our father's gym, kind of a big deal, super important to us. He basically has been giving us abuse our entire lives, waiting for the day we will take him on in a Pokemon battle, and this is the absolute perfect time for us to do so. There's some really cool, interesting foreshadowing as well, or I guess foreshadowing, but you can see they're kind of tossing around some ideas with these scientists. Like they mention here, dreams, which is a huge part, if you don't know, of Pokemon White and Black. They talk about speaking to Pokemon, which is obviously a huge part later on of the Mystery Dungeon series. So yeah, there's just a really kind of like a really cool, I want to say, kind of bit of foreshadowing that they did here. So looking back at these games, you can kind of see like not where they were testing, not maybe so where they were testing ideas, but just generally kind of like where you could see they were always thinking about like future parts for the series. So yeah, this kind of asked us to take a long walk. We just basically exit and walk back in. Was always my favorite thing to do as a kid, and essentially we're able to get our fossil. Unfortunately, we're not able to use it, but hey, at least we were able to get something done out of it. So yeah, it's Anorith, not Amaranth or Amaroth or Amaranth. It's Anorith, and yeah, we're not going to be able to use him, him. We're not going to be able to use him, unfortunately, because he is a bug-type Pokemon. So we are essentially a little bit caught out by that. But it's okay. It's not the end of the world. Along the way, we also get to finally have our, what was supposed to be our first double battle But yeah, these poor girls, shame. Just imagine you just you're just having a good day along the bridge with your sister, just hanging out, and challenge this guy to a Pokemon battle, and he just brings out Pokemon that basically are like 3 times the size of your current roster. It would just be a travesty. So we are gonna heal up and then take on our dad's gym. A couple important things to know about the gym. So it's a normal type Pokemon gym, but there's a couple really cool things. So firstly, you take on a lot of trainers, and you take them on essentially. They have different rooms. Those rooms, make them essentially drop, or they use items to augment their Pokemon. So there's like a speed room, he'll use X speed. There's a critical hit room, he'll use dire hit. There's a whole bunch of different like trainers that will drop different items. We're going to be strong enough to beat them. That's not like the huge problem. The big thing that's interesting, what makes this so interesting, essentially is basically that we're going to actually fight all the gym trainers. So we're going to fight every single one of the trainers, and the reason we're going to do this is because we want to get the EXP. We're going to be feeding it into Martin. So we're going to be feeding Martin EXP as much as possible, because it's super important that he gains a couple of levels. So I'll be backing in and out of rooms, constantly taking on the trainers, and just trying to grab as much EXP as possible, which is good because it does push Martin up a couple levels, which is actually very big for his development. But eventually we get through all of the trainers, and it's time to take on our dad. Now he's got 3 Pokemon. He has Slacking. He's got 2 Slackings, if I remember correctly. One's lower level, one's higher level. And then he's got, I can't remember the name, but it's basically I think it's also a Sloth Pokemon. I think it's actually the prior evolved form to Slacking. Now Slacking is just tanky. Facade or Facade. It's Facade, but okay, some people say Facade, but yeah, Facade, unfortunately, can do a pretty decent chunk of damage, so we do have to be a little bit wary of that. And obviously also our dad's a cheater like us and will use hyper potions and potions whenever his Pokemon basically enter the red. So we're going to need that Quick Claw to come in handy so that we can get the first move and the first breakage, and then we get Muddy Watered and we're able to take him out. Nice crit hit as well, so very good stuff. There we go. It's Vigoroth. But yes, this is the prior evolved form to Slacking, which is always a bit weird, but anyway. Vigoroth isn't too much of an issue. They're all the same thing. Facade. We're generally strong enough to take them out. We can use Mudshot. Mudshot's got that added bonus of slowing down the opposition, which does help us out, especially with the whole potion spamming mechanism that they all use. But yeah, we're able to pretty much take out our father with pretty much straightforward ease. There's really not like that much challenging stuff that we have to do to take him out. His Pokemon are just far too underleveled realistically to take us on, and we're just far too powerful realistically to lose. We also get a really nice critical hit on that Mudshot, which does huge damage, by the way, and we get critical hitted back. So yeah, very cool. We do finish it off with a Muddy Water, but yeah, we claim the victory, and that's our 5th gym badge. So we are basically high rolling at this point, very close to hitting critical mass. The last section of this game tends to go quite quickly because once you get past Fortree City, it's basically the legendary Pokemon section. It's the last 2 gyms, and then you're at the Elite Four. So although it's a bit of surfing, the last section is actually super duper quick. So it's this is probably the last big land section, or second to last big land section, because from Fortree down to the harbor is basically the final big land section, and then you're basically surfing and flying everywhere. But yeah, we go to Wally's parents and they hook us up with Surf, which is really cool because we helped out their son, gave him a friend, ruined his life, constantly beat him down, never let him escape the overwhelming oppression of defeat. And we teach Surf to Martin. That's his whole point. Remember, Marvin is still just busy training away. We'll also be teaching Martin Dragon Rage at some point, which is pretty cool. And yeah, at this point we're ready to go. We're doing well. We're kind of cruising at this point, if I'm being completely honest. So now there's a couple big things here. So we have Surf, and Surf's really good because it allows us to catch surface Pokemon. So for example, we shouldn't grab Magikarp. We should eventually get a Pelipper through this method, hopefully, and we're going to need the Pelipper for flying. So if we don't get a Pelipper, it's kind of a big issue. And then yeah, Tentacool will be our next one. So yeah, pretty nice stuff, to be honest with you, but it is crucial. Unfortunately, we've been to a lot of these routes, so we're gonna have to hopefully catch one of them a bit later on. Definitely. The second big thing is we will be unlocking the Good Rod at some point here, which is very, very, very crucial towards our progression, because the Good Rod unlocks obviously a new suite of Pokemon for us to kind of catch, so that's very, very important. We speak to the good old leader of Morville Gym. I guess he's still the leader of Morville Gym, even though I beat him. Watson. And yeah, he asks us to basically go switch off a generator. Not too certain how that helps things out, because generators usually give power. But yeah, he asks us to head to New Morville. Now this would be more intimidating if we weren't rocking Swampert. So if you're rocking, if it was a different game and we're going to the power plant section with an all-water team, usually I'd be quite, let's say nervous. But with Swampert you don't really have that problem because of Mudshot, because of the ground typing. However, the one issue you do have, obviously, is the chance for them to explode. So there are a couple of these bad boys, Electrode, that float around. They only really know self-destruct, and self-destruct is a really crap move because it does a lot of damage and also can take you by surprise. So we generally act quite cautious here, using repels just to kind of remove wild Pokemon. Not that they could tank us, but yeah, just to alleviate some of the pain. And then of course as well, we still continue to collect as many items as possible. There's no real reason for us to stick around. If we were running like a rock team or something and we could just farm these units, then yeah, I would probably say let's kind of take a look at it. Let's obviously see what we can do, maybe farm up some EXP. But because this is electricity and we're not getting much out of here, we're not going to sit and farm. We're just going to straight up escape road, head back to Watson and drop him with the goods. So yeah, again, pretty simple stuff. Honestly speaking, the New Morville section, when I was a kid, was kind of a pain, and it's still the same as an adult. It just really feels not like a lot of the power plant sections in the games. Previously were very interesting. Obviously most of the time they were taken over by Team Rocket or things like that, but yeah, generally speaking, they were better than that. Now of course we finally get across this crevice here, but there's a couple of big things we pick up. So firstly we try to catch another Pokemon, but I forget that I'm like 40 levels higher than it. Set my Pokemon to tackle, thinking that they would just tackle and I would be able to catch the Pokemon afterwards, but I was not. That Pokemon is no longer with us. So we obtain the Good Rod. This is huge. The Good Rod opens up a whole new spectrum of fish. I say fish, a whole new spectrum of Pokemon for us. So very, very crucial pickup item, essentially. So I think like the Good Rod is definitely a really strong kind of upgrade for us, and has a very huge presence, basically in terms of like just understanding like the ability to get wider access to Pokemon. We do a couple double battles and take on a couple flying trainers at this point, but there are some areas we need to worry about, and I'm going to show you one of them because it is actually quite dangerous for us, and that is some of the tamers. A lot of them are rocking grass Pokemon. That can give us a very big issue, and basically the kind of big issue we face is that a lot of them know Mega Absorb, Mega Drain, Leech Seed, etc. Along the way we meet Steven, who kind of just asks us if we're using only one type of Pokemon, to which we reply no, that would be silly. Why would anyone use only a singular type of Pokemon? What a fool. So yeah, basically, honestly, not too crazy here. For the most part, everything runs pretty smoothly until we come up to the one trainer who, basically almost ends our run, which is pretty scary. It was really weird that it was just a random trainer as well, but yeah, the way that fight went was just terrible. I'm gonna talk through it now, but it was just it was bad. It was like really bad. Obviously, I didn't cover myself in glory with how well I was obviously handling the fight, but yeah, that was not so great. But a couple of difficult battles here, and the bug Pokemon are always a bit awkward because they're not necessarily the same as grass types, but they know a lot of similar moves, they know a lot of status effect moves. So yeah, but it's actually by this house, the Berry Master's Hut, where we come across our near-death experience. So this trainer right there, Aroma Lady Violet, she is a public menace to water teams. I don't know what it was, but she just gave my water team a huge run for the money. Very, 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 very devastating. So we'll find, Shroomish easily dispatched, nothing too crazy. And then we came to Breloom. Now Breloom, huge problem. You can see right now we are low. And Breloom just keeps spamming Mega Drain, but the Shroomish also put down Leech Seed. So we are very tight. You're going to see us here get hit by Leech Seed as well. And that's going to stick us down to a beautiful 7 health. Oh my god. So yeah, this was very stressful. Basically, I didn't have a lot of solutions either because I hadn't really looked at my items in a while. Just didn't feel necessary. I wasn't struggling at any point. So what we did here, I'm not really happy with the strategy, but we just spam 8 super potions until he ran out of Mega Absorb. That is essentially the entire game plan that I came up with. So eating tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of product to keep you alive, and then essentially like we survive, and then we're hopefully going to be able to take them out. But it was very stressful. You'll see I basically repeat the process on high speed here because yeah, we're just gaining minimal back, hoping for his moves to run out, and then essentially healing up and kind of waiting. Once he started to only use headbutts and things like that, pretty much decided that it was time to take him out. And we get lucky as well. We do manage to get, I believe, a crit at this point. I believe it was a crit. Yeah, we get a crit, and that basically changes the entire battle around. No more does he have Mega Drain. Causes me sleepless nights, Mega Drain. But yeah, pretty straightforward. Obviously now has Gloom. Gloom is going to obviously hit us with the Leech Seed. And then she wants to hit us with Acid Spray, but that's fine because we're already paralyzed. And the Pokemon in 3rd gen, you can only have one stats effect at a time. So if you're paralyzed, you can't be poisoned. If you're poisoned, you can't be paralyzed. A very interesting mechanic, I guess it was to save on UI, but yeah, very strange. So anyway, we managed to finally take out Aroma Lady Violet, and things are looking up for us as we start to make our way through to the Weather Institute. So yeah, we need to basically make our way up to the Weather Institute. There's a bit of long grass and all of that here, but honestly speaking, there's nothing too wild along the way. quite a few trainers for us. A lot of them do have bug Pokemon. A lot of them have normal Pokemon, bird Pokemon. There wasn't anyone that outright had like a full-on grass type team or anything. So for the most part, we were just farming some XP. Getting Martin some necessary EXP. Really just trying to push him, into that higher 20s. Which is, not necessary, but definitely want to keep him on par with everyone else, because he is currently our only other real second option. We come across some quirky individuals who stolen a whole bunch of Pelipers, or I guess bought them, stole them, caught them, but yeah, for some reason he thought that would allow him to fly if he strapped all the birds to him. I say that's a brilliant idea, so yeah. But we make our way up to the Weather Institute along the way, making sure that we battle as many trainers as possible, because it is helpful. Again, we're trying really hard to build that EXP threshold with Martin. We're really trying to kind of get him a good kind of baseline of EXP, just so we have a good backup, because at this point we're heavily reliant on one Pokemon, and yeah, essentially anything could happen to us. But yeah, so what we do is we rest at the Weather Institute, and then we're basically pretty much good to go. We're going to take on Team Magma. A lot of them have Pugienas, Zubats, nothing too crazy. Most of the times they are Pokemons that we can handle pretty well. We didn't really have any issues handling them before. So yeah, now we're just basically able to clean up though. Because Martin has Surf, he can grab himself some decent EXP as well, which is all really quite good. So it is nice that Martin was able to get some big time kills in and grab himself a little bit of EXP, because we are going to need him to basically be our solid second option. So it's a bit of pressure on him. Obviously it's difficult, especially when you have one very strong Pokemon that you've invested a lot of your time into. It is difficult to kind of facilitate a second and then eventually a third, and then we'll have to build the team. But we need to start now, otherwise we're going to be very behind the curve. We're going to have to do a lot of daycare, training, manipulation, whatever you want to call it, and that's not great, because you do lose a lot. Obviously they auto train, in terms of the TMs and things like that. So yeah, it's just not necessarily so great in terms of like your Pokemon. They also don't get EVs, so that's a little bit of an issue as well. So yeah, it is a little bit of an issue to obviously not get EVs, to kind of be behind on the curve, but it is one of the few ways that you can at least carry up or catch up in terms of raw levels without necessarily having to lose your mind grinding battles. But it is important, and obviously we'll need to stick a second Pokemon in there, of course, to just kind of best handle that situation and double up on the EXP gain. But as of right now, yeah, just not too much of an issue. So we're taking out the good old Team Magma Grunt, but now we are basically going to head directly out of the Weather Satellite District. We get a cast form, but unfortunately we cannot use cast form. The reason being is essentially that cast form, how can I cut a long story short, cast form does not start out as a water Pokemon, so it kind of makes it difficult to use him for an all-water run. Like, yes, I understand if we give him Mystic Water, he will create rain and thus in turn become a water Pokemon, but that feels like a big workaround, because then what's stopping me from changing him to a fire type and just kind of like leaving it at that, behind the scenes to help me do stuff or whatever. It just doesn't feel conducive, unfortunately, to the whole Nuzlocke experience. But yeah, May challenges us just before Fortress City, and at first things were going fine. Wasn't anything too crazy. Martin I was able to earn some more EXP because obviously we were taking out Numel, which Martin can do in his sleep due to being a water type Pokemon. But that's when things start to get, wow, oh my god. So this has to be the absolute worst thing that could possibly have happened at this stage of the game. Like, I genuinely feel like this is probably the worst thing, like, almost I want to say period, in terms of this run that could ever happen, or in any Nuzlocke run. But we lose our starter, and we lose him to such a stupid play by myself. So as you can see, we're taking on Grovyle. We have the rain, which is boosting water damage, so I decide to go with a Muddy Surf. This is fine. I go for the Muddy Surf, and he accepts the damage, or he gets hit by it, and then all of a sudden he's relatively low on health. So you know what, we say, okay, cool, we're gonna call it quits. Well, at least so I thought. Instead he hits me with Leaf Blade, which does a lot of damage, as you can see, and my thought was, well, I'll finish him off and then move on to the next one, because he's definitely not going to survive another attack. Except I missed, and then he used Leaf Blade. So we are officially down one official starter. It's huge. It was so frustrating, because I could have used anything. I could have used Tackle. I could have used literally any other ability, and if it hit, he would have been KO'd. And this will be a completely different story. But yeah, pretty big kind of bloop there. Super knockback to our progress. Yeah, it was Kippy. It was Kippy as well, and Kippy. Oh man. It's just, it's so hard to like. Sorry. It's just so hard to like keep focused. It's going to be so difficult to recover from this. We'll try in the next episode, but it's just going to be so difficult, and I just don't know if we can do it. Like, I just realistically don't know if we have the ability to recover and, kind of start again. Basically, it's bad. It's bad. Losing your starter is the absolute worst, or one of the most devastating things that can happen in your Pokemon search. But yeah, that is it from me. Obviously, thanks guys for watching. It's appreciated. Kippy is going to be laid to rest. He served us really well, and yeah, we're just gonna have to try our best. But that's basically gonna be it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. As always, take care and stay safe, and bye.